Thank you, Hugo. And let's start talking about this topic. Yes. So first of all, let me set the context like always. So Microsoft, with the SharePoint Framework 1.18, introduced a new way of designing the card views in SharePoint Framework Adaptive Card Extensions, which is called the component-based card view design. This is a much more powerful way of working. You can create more versatile card views. And the design is much more open compared with the previously available options. There are also some pre-configured combination of components in these component-based card views, and you can find an official guidance on the learnmicrosoft.com site at the URL that you can see on this slide. And you can create really nice looking card views in your ACES. However, we realized that despite the design is really nice and cool, having just a document like you see on this slide with a list of screenshots of how you can design your cards is not enough to help developers in the community to build their own solution. So we decided to create a solution, a SharePoint Framework solution, where you can see exactly every single kind of design, how can be created using a real code. So first of all, let me explain you how the card view design works with the new component-based model. And then we will see a few examples taken from a sample that you can find starting from today in the sample gallery in order to learn and reuse code to create your own card views based on this new design model. So the component-based card design is based on a set of predefined elements in the UI of the card view. There is the card bar at the top, where you have the icon and the title of the card. There is the header, where you can have a specific title or content for the card itself. Then you could have the body, and in the body of the card, you might have additional text, or you could have a text box to collect input from the user or other stuff like that. You have a footer. In the footer, you can have command buttons, or you can have a text box with a button to submit some content or stuff like that. And you can also have, optionally, an image on the right side of the card view if you will use the large layout instead of the medium layout for your card views. When you create the card views in SharePoint Framework, you can rely on a set of predefined factory functions, which will allow you to create different flavors of layouts for your card views, depending on what you want to achieve as your own goal. So you can use the basic card view, the image card view, the primary text, the text input with image, and the search card. All these factory functions can be used to easily create a card view with a nice looking UI. And when you do that, you have to provide to those functions a set of input arguments, which can be the different components that we have in the anatomy of a card view. So the card bar, the header, the body, the image, and the footer, depending on the flavor of card view that you want to create. So just to be more clear, what do I mean? Well, when you create, for example, a card view and you provide a card bar will be a JSON object made of a component name, which will be card bar, a title, which is the title that you will see in the card view, and eventually an icon if you want to customize the icon, which can be, for example, the URL of a picture that you want to show in the UI as the icon for your card view. If you have a header, the header will be made of a text, and the text will be the bold title that you see in the card view. You can have a body, and the body can be text, for example, in a primary text card view, but can also be an input field. So you can use, instead of a text component, a text input component. And the text input component will have some settings to collect input from the user, including an event to handle the new value provided by the user through the input box in the UI. Or you can have a search box as the body. So again, depending on what you want to do, you can have different setup, different configuration of the body and of the components that make up your card view. So here, for example, you can see a footer with a card button, if you want to have a button, a clickable button from an end user perspective. Or here you can see another footer where you have a text input that you can use to read some input content, text content from the user. So the available options are those listed on this slide. I will not go through all of them. I will just leave you the slide as a reference. But what I want to do is to move to the demo side of the story, where I will actually show you some code and some slides to explain you what you are going to see in the demo. So first of all, let me switch here, and this is the document I was referring to. In this document, we can see a long list of sample card views that you can create using the SharePoint Framework 180 component-based model, but all of these are just images. And that's why in the sample gallery that you can find under adoptionmicrosoft.com, I made available this sample, which is the designing card template sample, where you can see all of those card views actually implemented in real code. And for example, here you see all of them in the workbench of SharePoint Framework running, nicely running, and exactly with the same UI that you used to see in the design guidance document. So how can you do that in practice? Let's say, for example, that you want to create cards like those that you see in the bottom of this slide, the help desk or the Viva topics or the approvals, where those are based on the basic card view layout, and that one is made of a card bar, header, a footer. So you don't have the body, you don't have the image, you just have the card bar, the header, and the footer. And just to give you an idea, let's get, for example, the help desk card view. Let me go here in the sample solution, and there you will find a README file where you can easily play with this stuff. And this is the card view that I created to show you how you can do that in practice. The basic card view factory function is the one I'm going to use. And I simply provide the configuration for the card bar to create the icon and the title. Then I have an header with the text, and I have a footer. And in the footer, I'm collecting some input from the user using a text box. I also have a button to collect the feedback, and in the button I want to show a custom image instead of a text on top of the button, and the action that will be triggered by clicking the button will be to open an external link, but could be something else that you can handle in your own custom code. And then I can have the rendering of that card, which is exactly the one you see right here. Okay, oops, sorry about that. This one, okay? And you can see the text box and the button. What else? Quickly, we have the image card view. In the image card view, you can build this kind of UI. You have the card bar, the header, the footer, and the image. So almost like before, but the image will be based on the URL of the image that you want to show. We have the primary text card view, which is a card where you have not only the card bar with the icon and the title, but you will also have the header with the bold title, as well as a primary text in the body of the card. And that's why in this configuration, we also have the body component that we can define. And we can do that also having in the footer just a button or nothing, as you can see here, or maybe an input text because we want to collect some input like in the training card view that you see right here. So again, just to give you an idea of what you can do in real code, let me switch back to Visual Studio Code and let me look for the training sample. So this is the README file again. This is the training card view. And here we can see how I implemented it. And in the card view, we have a primary text card view, again with a card bar, which is always there in all of the card view flavors. We have the header where I have the title, so basically the safety training survey. Then I have this text, which will go into the body, which will be a body configured to have just a component of type text. And I have a footer where I have a text box and a button. And in fact, in this footer, I have a text input. Oh, sorry. I have a text input with a button, which will show this specific image in the button. What else? Text input card view. This specific configuration will have the input text in the body of the card. So we still have the card bar and the header. We still have the footer eventually to show a button or nothing. But in the body, we will have a text input component. So if we search for the fake ChatGPT card view that I have in my sample, and it should be here, exactly this one, we can see that the card view has been created using the text input card view factory function. And again, car bar is always the same story. The header is like as before. In the body, I have the text input component, and in that one I can also easily configure an icon before or after the text box itself. I can handle the onChange event on the text, and in the footer I have a button that I will use to trigger an action to collect the feedback from the user, or the input text for the fake ChatGPT for my user. What else? What if you want to have a text input with an image? There is the text input image car view. So you have the car bar, you have the header, you have the bodies like as before, and you have the footer as like as before. But you also have the image so that you can show a nice image on the right side of the car view in order to have a nice looking card to collect input from the user. And again, as like as before, you can have a button or you can have just an empty footer for your card view. One last option that we have in the set of out-of-the-box available card designs is the search card view design, which is the one that allows you to create a search card through which you can provide a search query, click on a button, get a preview of the output of the search results, and eventually open a quick view to show the detailed list of results. In this configuration, we have the card bar, we have the header. In the body and in the footer, we have specific content which is specific for the search card view. What do I mean? Again, and for the last time, let me go back to this sample. This is the search box. And in the card view, we have this factory function, the search card view 1. In this one, we have the card bar and the header like always. But in the body, we have a component of type search box where we define the behavior and the outline of the search box itself, as well as in the footer, we have a component of type search footer, which is specific for a search card. And in this one, we can configure the outline of the preview of the output that we want to show to the user while he's typing, he or she is typing the search query in order to get a preview and then being able to see the actual result. So here you can find some useful link. The first one is the sample I showed you. And these are the learnmicrosoft.com links to dig into this topic and learn how to design your own card views with SPFX. And I think that's all for me. Back to you, Hugo. Thank you.